Ready when you are.
Oh, really, Will? Welcome to That's Good Sports Broncos podcast. That's Good Broncos podcast.
Gotcha.
Today's episode brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Use code DNVR when you sign up to take advantage of DraftKings can't-miss offers. Also, my coffee company, Benchwarmer Brew. Shirts coming soon, Will. And
they're beautiful. They're really some glorious design. Someone just reached out and made the design and said, Here, take it.
Samuel on Twitter just made this for me.
Talented guy. I love the shirt. Can't wait to get my own. You guys should probably do that too.
Yeah, we're doing just a couple little tweaks, and once I can get another one ordered, I'll just order one in your size instead of a child small that I currently.
I'm a child's medium.
Yeah. Well, I thought we were going to be stretching out our Denver Broncos draft content today. Like, I was thinking about going back and talking about some of the draft picks I was wrong about, kind of being a little more thorough with who the Broncos should target at what positions. But then a gift from the gods was dropped in our laps, and the Broncos traded for quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, gave up jack shit to get him, got the Panthers to pay for him, and I don't even like the deal. I think it's a great deal. Doesn't mean I have to like it, which is what I kind of tried to explain on today's video about the trade. But the Broncos got better at the quarterback position, and now we will get our thoughts, talk about what this means for the Broncos, for the draft tomorrow. I don't know. How do you feel about the trade, Will?
I think on paper, very good deal. Very good deal. Anytime you can get a quarterback, send over just a 6th-round pick, and make Carolina pay for it, good move. And it's worth noting, too, that Teddy kind of instigated the trade a little bit himself. He wanted to go to Denver. I don't blame him. That's a place where he can compete for the starting job with a really good offense in place around the quarterback. So to do that, he took a pay cut. I think he was sitting around like $20 million this year. He's only going to be paid $11.5 million in 2021. So the Broncos are going to pay $3 million, and the Panthers are going to pay about the rest. I think there's some confusion as far as the remaining $1.5 million. I really don't know how that works. Not a math guy, but the point is the Panthers are really paying for this. So a 6th-round pick, when you think about it, it's nothing. And spending a 6th-round pick and $3 million to improve your quarterback room, that's a great move. That's a great move in my opinion. And we're going to talk about it, but I don't think this changes very much of what's going to happen tomorrow.
Interesting. I mean, I think it changes how the Broncos will approach the draft in that before this move, they might have been willing to give up a little bit more if they wanted to move up for a quarterback. And now they probably won't feel like they have to do anything, right? So it buys them a little bit of security. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. To me, it feels like they cut off their own balls to spite their face. Wait,
as the saying goes.
As the saying goes. Obviously, I am heartbroken because this almost guarantees that Gardner Minshew is no longer a possibility for the Broncos. And we've talked about it here dozens of times, and I stand by my quarterback philosophy of I don't believe a veteran in the locker room or the QB room's a huge deal. especially when you could just take a guy very similar in playing style, Gardner Minshew, Teddy Bridgewater, safe QBs, don't take a lot of risks. And the one thing you don't know about Gardner Minshew is how good he could be. You don't know how high those wings on the back of his head could carry him. And you kind of have a read on who Teddy Bridgewater is. That said, Bridgewater with a good Saints team, very good. And I like Teddy Bridgewater. It's bittersweet because if this would have happened when the Broncos took Joe Flacco, I would have been thrilled. But maybe because we've been through it before with Case Keenum, we've been through it before with Joe Flacco, and now we have Teddy Bridgewater. It feels to me like the Broncos are not going to walk away from the draft with a quarterback. They're going to be comfortable with Bridgewater and Drew Lock competing, and then Teddy's going to beat out Drew Lock. The Broncos are going to win just enough games to miss the playoffs barely, but be in contention, and we're going to have the same damn conversation next offseason. That's my fear. That's my worst case scenario. Best case scenario, Teddy gets him into the playoffs. Best case scenario, Drew Lock beats out Teddy Bridgewater, plays really, really good. Best case scenario, the Broncos still trade up. They get their guy, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. I don't care. They trade Drew Lock, and then Teddy Bridgewater is the bridge to one of the two QBs they like in this draft.
Yeah, he really was born for the bridge role.
Yeah.
It's his destiny. He's kind of like Tyrod Taylor in that case, although history shows that when you get Tyrod Taylor on your team, the future of the quarterback position is coming right behind him.
Yeah, and when you get Teddy Bridgewater, you're going to eventually trade for Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that's true. It happened in the Jets and in Carolina. That spells the exit for Teddy. The difference to me between Keenum and Flacco is when you get Case Keenum, the intention is he's going to be the day one starter.
True.
When you get Joe Flacco, and it was before the draft, but you acquire Flacco in March, April, I think early April. And the intention there is that, yeah, you might get Drew Lock. You're not going to you push the envelope as far as a trade to go up and get him. But at the same time, Flacco is going to start week one. I don't think, Bridgewater might start week one, but they're not handing him the keys or anything. They're not, no one's going to roll over to give him the job. It's not expected. If he does start week one, I think it's because he's playing really well and picking up the offense. And that's obviously a very good thing.
They're not handing him the keys. He's going to have to break that lock.
I'll take a victory lap.
All right. That's why people subscribe to this bullshit.
Jesus Christ. I will say in Teddy's defense, because he did not have a very good season last year. And he was not very good at the end of games. That's a big reason why they dumped him. I think he was 2-7 in one-score games, something like that. He also played most of the season without Christian McCaffrey, who is kind of the engine for the Panthers offense. That you can't really understate how big of an impact that has on the Panthers. The entire offense is designed around Christian McCaffrey. And I know Mike Davis had a nice little season filling in, but you lose the heart and soul of the whole team really without McCaffrey. And they acquired Bridgewater, I think, because he is so good in the short passing game. And they thought he would be efficient getting the ball to Christian McCaffrey in space, getting him yak, hitting him in the red zone, stuff like that. So he didn't really have the opportunity. That said, I think he enters an even better offensive situation when you go from DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel. I don't know who their tight end was. Was it Ian Thomas, someone like that? I think that says all you really need to know when you can't even think of their tight end. But you go from that, and that's a good, 3-deep wide receiver core, to Cortland Sutton coming back, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler, maybe Deshaun Hamilton, Noah Fant, Alberto, that's as good as it gets, I think.
Yeah, he'll have more weapons in Denver, and I think a better defense this year. Last year, the Broncos gave up more points per game than Carolina, but a lot of that kind of came after the injuries really sort of affected the Broncos defense. But Carolina's defense, I think it was the youngest defense in the league last year, second youngest. So Teddy also didn't have the advantage of getting like extra opportunities from a lot of turnovers or other things like that maybe this Broncos defense can provide him. Yeah, it's weird. It's like you look at last season with Teddy in Carolina, wasn't great. There was some decent moments, but compared to what he was doing in New Orleans, like it just didn't seem like it was the right fit. So you have these two samples that are kind of tainted. One, Carolina or New Orleans, it's short. It's just a 5-game stretch, and he did enough to win all 5 of those games.
Yeah.
Wasn't lighting it up during those games, but was like 9-2 touchdown to interception ratio.
It was like, sorry to interrupt, but it was like in 1998 when John Elway gets hurt and Bubby Brister goes undefeated.
Yeah. So it's like if you throw Teddy on a good team, which we think the Broncos have, then does he kind of repeat what we saw in New Orleans? And that's basically what we've said. You just need Drew Lock to limit the turn. You take less of the explosive plays if he was just better with, the ball, and you'll get that with Teddy. But unlike, all right, so Joe Flacco, they brought him in and it didn't work out. And then the Broncos paid to get rid of him. That's exactly what the Panthers are doing with Teddy. So it's nice that the Broncos are on the correct side of that deal if it works out. He is a great backup quarterback to have.
Maybe the best. I mean, depending on what happens with Jimmy Garoppolo and Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, I think, and I would have rather had both of those guys over Teddy because I think if they are a starter, Jimmy G, I think you have a better starter. Gardner Minshew, you possibly have a better starter. But you're saying you don't think this is going to affect what the Broncos do in tomorrow's draft?
I don't think so. It shouldn't.
Well, why don't you tell me what you think they're going to do after this message from DraftKings Sportsbook? For some, the draft is the most exciting day of the season. For others, it's a chance to build on last year's success. Whether your team has the first pick or the last, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing excitement to you. What about the teams that don't even pick in the first round, though? Oh, man, I feel sorry for those fan bases. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is adding to the thrill of the draft with a chance to turn $1 into $100 in free bets if a quarterback is drafted first overall on Thursday night. Turning $1 into $100 in free bets is simple. All you have to do is place a wager on any draft day outcome, and you'll be eligible to win $100 in free bets if a QB is selected first overall. So only the Jaguars can mess this up for everyone. Think you know your team? Think you know what your team's going to do in this year's draft? Well, Will's going to tell us what he thinks the Broncos are going to do. But you can put your money where your mouth is and bet on it with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a chance to turn $1 into $100 in free bets. That's right, DraftKings Sportsbook is letting you turn $1 into $100 in free bets if a QB is selected first overall this Thursday night. Don't forget to use code DNVR during your sign-up, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Got to be 21 or older, Colorado only, new customers only, winnings paid out in free bets, restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. All right, William, if that is your real name. What do the Broncos do tomorrow now that they have Teddy that they would have done without Teddy?
So I think the best case scenario for this Teddy Bridgewater trade is he's a Jeff Driscoll upgrade.
Yeah, big time.
Which obviously he is. And if that's the purpose of the move, then it's an excellent trade. Like it's totally worth a 6th-rounder because we saw, 3 games last year started by backup quarterbacks, Driscoll, Rippon, and Kendall Hinton.
Yeah.
Like if you put Teddy Bridgewater in that game against the Saints, the Broncos probably win, I think.
Yeah. And it's fair to say Teddy Bridgewater is a better quarterback than Kendall Hinton. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm willing to take, to go out on a limb and say that. That's just me though. So, put on some sunglasses and deal with the heat of that take. I think they should still move up if they want a quarterback, especially because you have the goddamn New England Patriots lurking around, trying to wheel and deal. They're a wild card because they're not in this situation very often, and I think it makes them uncomfortable. And they're disgusted by the fact that they're not picking in at least the 20s, and they're going to overreact a little bit,
like they did in free agency.
Exactly like they did in free agency. Bill Belichick is sensing his football mortality, and it doesn't feel good. Anyway, I think you got to move up to at least 6, maybe 4. I think the move is to move up to 6, though, because if the Falcons were going to sell the number 4 overall pick and not take Kyle Pitts or a quarterback, why wouldn't they have made the trade already?
Yeah, it seems like that deal would be happening today or I guess tomorrow morning at the latest. But as early as the 49ers got their deal done, you'd think Atlanta would want to know where they were going to be picking tomorrow.
Yeah, so I think the longer it goes on, because the Falcons would make a trade with the Patriots. The Dolphins will not make a trade with the Patriots, in my opinion. If I were the Falcons, I would not make a trade with the Patriots because they humiliated you 5 years ago, and I would never forget that and hold that grudge forever. Obviously, as you should. Never let go of the past. But the Broncos do have that distinct advantage because they can move up to 6. The Patriots can move up to 7 or 8. That makes sense for them. They also have the 9th pick versus the 15th pick. And I know we've talked about it, but the point being, Bridgewater gives you a little flexibility, and you can say, we don't need to make a trade for a quarterback. But the reality is, if you're not sure about your quarterback, then yes, you do have to move up for a quarterback, and you can't leave it to chance. And it feels like the Bridgewater acquisition gives them an excuse to sit at 9 and kind of let the draft come to them. And I don't think that's how you should handle it when you're in the market for a QB, which it seems like they are.
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see what they do tomorrow. I went a little nuts in my video today, but I also said, I'll have a full reaction to this when I know what the Broncos have done in the draft. Because if you bring in Teddy, it means you're not sold on Drew Lock, right? Like, you can bring in a handful of guys to be serviceable backups, like that you don't have to give up even a 6th-rounder for.
Right.
So you bring in Teddy, it means they're not sold on Lock. If they're not sold on Lock, it means they will still be interested in a quarterback in this draft. But it doesn't mean they will necessarily take a QB in this draft. And like you said, they could sit at 9. But the Dolphins are somebody they would trade with at 6. The Dolphins want to stay in the top 12 if they do a trade. So even if they were thinking about trading with the Patriots, based on those numbers that I have seen on the Twitter sphere, they're not going to do it. And it all, if Atlanta takes a quarterback, then it changes, I think, the landscape. Well, I guess 6 would if they take Trey Lance and the Broncos are interested in Lance, which it feels like they would be with Bridgewater, they might not move up to 6 with the Dolphins to take Justin Fields, right? And then maybe the Patriots are trading with the Lions or even the Panthers to jump the Broncos to get Fields. But if the Falcons don't take a quarterback and Lance and Fields are still available, assuming the 49ers go with Mac Jones, then yeah, I feel like the Broncos have to make that move up to 6 with the Dolphins if they're indeed in on one of these guys. And it feels like they should be. I watched the Broncos like behind the scenes draft video where they had to like blur out all of their TVs. It's like, why even do this shot if it's 90% television? You're gonna blur it out anyway.
Pixelated Bukkake draft board.
They were talking, at least in one part, they were talking about quarterbacks in the draft. So, they're thinking about it. Like, we all assume they're thinking about it, but to see them
they had
actually
to bleep out
talking
when
about
they said Kellen Mond at 9.
Yeah. And then, it could be a guy they just take later, which would be like, I would be fine with that too. Like, even a guy like Kellen Mond, Bridgewater makes sense again, because you're looking at guys kind of that you want just a little time to develop. Peter Schrager brought up a good point though about Trey Lance, because the idea is he's raw. You want him to sit behind, somebody. But Schrager's like, he played one game last year. So he'll have gone another year without playing. Like, is that actually a good thing for a guy like Trey? Like, if you believe he's that good, maybe that idea of not playing him is actually kind of stupid when, like, just get him in there. Even if he is raw, like he probably needs to be playing, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. At the very least, if you have Trey Lance on your roster, he should be like in a red zone package, right? He's such a good runner and he takes care of the ball in the red zone. And I don't know, he makes the defense back up on its heels a little bit more than Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock. So, but yeah, that is a good point. If you're a quarterback, I don't think going 2 full seasons just about playing one game is a very helpful thing, even if you are getting reps in practice. That seems kind of, I'm just, whenever they say someone's going to sit for 2 years or even 1 year, that's just, it strikes me as such bullshit. And it's so disingenuous at this point because it really doesn't happen unless you have like an Alex Smith on the roster or let's say Aaron Rodgers on the roster, in which case Jordan Love might, sit on that bench for eternity. So if you get Trey Lance, like, I don't care how raw he is, and he's not that raw. He has a great throwing motion.
They just didn't play last year. Like, if they played last year, nobody'd be saying that about him.
Right. The only thing that people think is raw about him is that he played against bad competition. That doesn't make you raw as a passer. Yeah. That makes the speed of the game, a bigger jump. But guess what? Like, Carson Wentz did it. Carson Wentz played fine as a rookie. Should have been the MVP his second year in the league coming out of North Dakota State. Trey Lance was perfectly. He would have made a perfectly viable like SEC starter if those teams had scouted him. I can't remember why. I think like Minnesota wanted him to play wide receiver, but he would have been fine. Like, there's going to be a jump. You don't need to you don't need to sit him for a year. I don't believe that at all. Maybe a few games, but obviously if you go Justin Fields, I think he's probably the day one starter. And I was kind of hypothesizing as in the Broncos are looking at Fields because that's who I think the Patriots are interested in. If it's Lance, it's kind of a different matter and you might actually be able to wait at 9, but I don't know. Chris Sims also has Lance or Fields going at 32. So
yeah, Chris Sims projected him to be Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, he's priority undrafted free agent Justin Fields. To conclude my long rambling rant, no one knows.
Nobody knows. It's fun guessing game. The guessing will be over tomorrow. And the one thing, like, people always cite Aaron Rodgers as benefiting from sitting, for a couple years behind Brett Favre. You know why that worked out? Because Aaron Rodgers is fucking Aaron Rodgers and is just an amazing quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, if he had to start day one, he would have been fine.
I think he would have
been like pretty.
Yeah.
but he would have been fine.
I think he would still be Aaron Rodgers today.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
was able to hit the ground running at in season 4, whatever, of his career. Yeah, 2008, season 4. If anything, I think it probably might have added some years onto the back end of his career just from not taking hits for 3 seasons. But not a lot of teams have Brett Favre on the roster.
No. And Aaron Rodgers.
I got a crazy take for you.
Okay.
Did the 2007 Packers win the Super Bowl if they start Aaron Rodgers in 2006?
2007 Packers.
Yeah, the team that was that went to overtime against the Giants in the NFC Championship game.
Oh.
Remember when Favre throws that pick?
Oh.
If they just start Rodgers right away, that might be a Super Bowl team right there.
Crazy. Then they would have played the Patriots, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the legend of Eli Manning never happens. Wow, that's a Dave Damashek.
Yeah, NFL.
Yeah, that's a crazy domino effect.
Yeah, I mean you could do the same thing for the Chiefs in 2017. Like, what if Mahomes plays Week 17 in Denver? What if they just start Mahomes for the playoffs? What happens there?
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, that's like
something
Mahomes.
To think about.
Mahomes benefiting from sitting behind Alex Smith. Like, again, I don't know how much of that actually. Like, he would have been fine probably if they just started Mahomes.
Yeah, he would have figured things out. Like, I don't know.
Anyway, I saw one more take that was very hot. Very hot. It was a Colin Cowherd take on Zach Wilson.
Never mind.
It was that he is 0-5 against 10-win teams, and that he played very poorly against them.
Okay. So BYU is 0-5 against 10-win teams.
Yeah, BYU.
Not just Zach Wilson.
Not just Zach Wilson.
Just to clarify for Colin. I will say it's going to be weird because if the Broncos draft Trey Lance, all of a sudden Colin Cowherd becomes our father-in-law basically.
Is he a big Trey Lance guy?
No. His daughter is dating Trey Lance.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What's her name?
Liv Cowherd.
Liv. Yeah. She gets.
I follow her on Instagram for about a year now.
I've seen her on Twitter. Yeah, she gets brought into Colin Cowherd takes sometimes. No good reason. Interesting.
I'll just say she looks more like Colin Cowherd's ex-wife than Colin Cowherd, which is a good thing.
So you're saying she's not ugly?
Yes,
correct. So let's throw out the Broncos QB for right now. Let's say they got their guy. Let's say the quarterbacks, like something crazy happens. All 5 of the big 5 are gone by 5. Broncos sitting at 9. You can take a tackle like Rashawn Slater, maybe. You could take best corner available, which I think is a smart move, not necessarily for this season, but for 2022, because the Broncos got a lot of contracts drying up in the secondary. Mike Kliss said the Broncos would be interested in an edge rusher in Kwity Paye. You've got Von Miller in his last contract year with the Broncos. So that's 4. Was that 3 or 4? Tackle,
3.
Corner, edge, or Micah Parsons been mentioned with the Broncos. I think you could trade back and take another linebacker like Zaven Collins and have an extra pick to grab your corner. Probably that falls as well. I don't know if I would take Micah Parsons at 9. Like, I don't think
I wouldn't either.
After seeing kind of how Devin Bush played out for the Steelers, the guy that I wanted the Broncos to take, I'm not sure taking a linebacker right there is the best spot. And I say that knowing full well that Devin White and Levante David really helped the Buccaneers win a Super Bowl because.
Yeah. Okay. But how did they help them win the Super Bowl? Because of their coverage ability.
But also their speed and run stopping ability.
Yeah, that's true. And Micah Parsons is really fast, but we don't know how he is.
What are his character concerns? I haven't really looked into it. Like
it was like this kind of like bullying, hazing thing early on. It's kind of bizarre. And I think maybe some high school stuff. That worries me less than the fact that like nobody knows if he can cover. Because that's what you want, right? That's why you're taking a guy. If you're taking an inside linebacker at 9, then he better be able to do just about everything. And, the most important thing is probably cover tight ends like Travis Kelce and Darren Waller. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm at 9, I would take Surtain. It'd be really funny because, like the Cowboys will probably take him at 10.
Yep.
You can just take their guy a pick ahead of them.
Question though,
extra funny.
If you pick right before the Cowboys, or you're taking the pick the Cowboys want, is that a bad sign based on Paxton Lynch?
No, I don't. Yes, in that situation, if it's a quarterback, then probably.
No, I like Surtain. I would take him.
Yeah, I don't think the Cowboys are terrible drafters. I think they're pretty good at evaluating talent. Paxton Lynch one. Yeah, I'm sure Jerry's laying awake at night still losing sleep over Paxton Lynch like he did after the draft. They made the right call there. Or they got lucky, I guess.
They got outbid.
They got outbid. I would feel great about Surtain as a non-quarterback option. Taking Kwity Paye there, I think, is too high.
Trade back and maybe take Kwity.
Yeah, if you trade back, that feels a lot more palatable.
Right.
In my opinion.
A trade back for Kwity Paye, I'm good with. A trade back for Zaven Collins, linebacker, I'm good with. A trade back for one of the other corners, I'm fine with. The more I've learned about Caleb Farley's injury, the less I want him.
Yeah, but at a certain point, he's a great value pick, right?
At a certain point, but those back surgeries for disc problems, that's really scary to me. And it's
okay.
Like, and I mean, just as a guy whose back goes out from time to time, like, it's if it were a different injury, it would worry me less. What was it? Okay, so I'll trade back for those guys. If they take a tackle at 9.
Yeah, I want to say one thing about Farley really quick.
Okay, yeah, say it.
And that's if he's there in the second round, I think it's an excellent pick because you don't have to play him in year 1. That's the whole point of taking a cornerback is they don't have to be on the field. If you take Surtain, he's going to be on the field because he's just good. And he should be on the field. That's not like a draft and stash kind of thing. Sit him, let him learn. No, he's going to be ready to play. You take Farley, like he'll probably be healthy enough, but you don't have to like force him into day 1 action, which is always a good thing. As far as tackle, it's not exciting. But
tackle's the least exciting. But if you believe in building your team in the trenches, as they say, like
yes,
you're gonna need somebody to replace Jawan James because unless he has like a Pro Bowl year, I think the Broncos will move on from him. So if you're at 9 and you can get one of the 2 best tackles, and I think Rashawn Slater is that, it would be like a letdown in terms of us being able to hype up the pick.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be a solid pick. So I don't see any surprises out of those areas. Like, unless, I mean, like, what if fucking Jalen Waddle or somebody's sitting there at 9? The Broncos are
he's going to be sitting there at 9, yeah.
Do you do it? Like, Cortland Sutton's coming back from a knee injury. Is he in the last year? This will be his 4th year? or third year.
This is going to be his 4th year. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is last year on his deal. Like,
I mean, there's a case to be made for it. Like, say Jamar Chase falls to 9. I don't think it's going to happen, but Waddle will probably be there at 9. So that,
right. No, that's true. Devontae Smith.
It'd have to be Jamar Chase, in which case, yeah, you probably could like either trade Sutton or just like let him walk after this year and let Chase take over because he's a physical receiver. You could, I don't know. I don't want to trade Judy, but he'd turn that into some good value. I don't know. You could trade Hamler. Who cares? You could do a lot of things.
Who cares?
I like taking good players.
Yeah. I mean, that's the luxury of being fine.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to get a good player. I don't know. I think at this point, the priority should be quarterback.
Yeah. What if it's Mac Jones? You cool with Mac Jones at 9?
As long as they don't trade up.
I agree.
I don't think it's going to happen, but no, the more I watch Mac Jones, and I don't claim to be a tape grinder, obviously.
Yeah, it's fucking boring.
It's boring as hell.
Shout out to all the guys who will watch tape because it sucks.
Yeah. God, the things you could be
watch in all 22. You know what? I want to say this one thing about tape. Guys who explain tape. You rewind and fast forward the same like 4 seconds.
Much.
Way too many times.
Damn it, that's annoying.
Like I want somebody who gives us game film study that's done in like 5 minutes. Just give me like 5 minutes of it. Like 3 great plays. I don't want to see it rewound and fast forward 400 fucking times. 2 times why the play worked or why it didn't work or whatever the thing is. Tape grinders love to talk about that. And a lot of people like it. And I like watching it sometimes. But like the best ones, I'm like, I don't got 40 minutes to learn about why Carson Wentz is bad right now. You know what I mean? And that's the I'm not singling out like a Brett Coleman because I think nobody does it better than Brett Coleman. I want a condensed version for a fucking ADD person like me.
Learn how to edit, I will say. Edit the tape, come up with your conclusions, and then do a voiceover. Don't be like, well, you can see here. All right, let's go back. You can see it kind of. Let's go back again. Yeah. I remember in high school football, we'd have to come in on Saturday mornings and lift weights for an hour, then watch tape for an hour. And watching tape, like it's football, but it's so like tedious that it feels like I should be getting college credits or something for this. God, is it annoying to just hit the rewind button. Coaches, you gotta no more rewinding. Exactly.
2 rewinds, and then the rewind button stops working.
And then it becomes a self-destruct button.
Yeah. It just shocks you.
Yeah. I think we solved it.
And we say that as we put out 50-minute podcasts once a week where the last 20 minutes we're probably just rambling about bullshit.
Yeah, where we repeat ourselves every week.
Yeah. Make sure you subscribe to Brett Coleman and whoever else does the big game review tapes.
Yeah. Tim Jenkins and those guys, and
they all great. I just want the ADD version because I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Speaking of like, long form stuff, I don't know if we mentioned it, but we're streaming the whole first round tomorrow night.
We'll be live. Clickbait Sports will do a pregame draft show, and then Will and I are going to take over and go live during the draft. Hopefully the Broncos do something sexy so we can go crazy, and then we can put out Broncos fans react to the draft video, and we hit that 1 million view video like Tom Grossi did last year. I just hope it's not because the Broncos do something incredibly stupid like the Packers did. It's got to be something amazing or something really stupid for me to benefit personally.
Yeah.
Rashawn Slater's not getting me 1 million views.
No, definitely not. How long was the first round last year?
Well, it was like 3.5 hours or some shit.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
Will's getting his second shot tomorrow, so we'll see if he starts getting the COVID sweats about 2 hours in.
It's hit 90 degrees already in Sacramento, so I think I might be
shit.
sweating regardless. So
Maybe some of the ladies will tune in for that.
yeah, you want to see a bead of sweat come down my forehead? Tune in. Yeah, we're gonna have to like cook dinner beforehand and have it ready. I did Uber Eats last time, but so you can't do that.
Yeah, I'm ordering Indian food tonight. There's this Indian food place I order from, and I order food that it gives me dinner for like 4 or 5 straight nights because it's just like so much. So I'm ordering it tonight, so I have the leftovers ready to eat in between clickbait and the draft tomorrow. So
yeah,
be ready.
We may be eating a little bit on camera, so
maybe
that
I'll probably diving into the whiskey tomorrow night too. So
maybe that's a good idea.
wait till pick 26 comes along and I can no longer form a coherent sentence.
Yeah. My dad was telling me about so he watched the draft stream last year, and the way he remembers it, like by the end of it, we weren't even talking about the draft. And he also claims we were both like hammered, which I don't think was the case. Yeah. Maybe it looked like that,
drunk, but maybe we did.
I don't think that was true. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Broncos got Teddy. I love Teddy.
Teddy
We'll
B.
see tomorrow I'll see tomorrow if I love the move. Great value. Don't know if I like it. I'm an idiot. Good night and